All right, well, welcome to the Lost Lowdown Volume 2, or I should say Volume 1.2 or something?
2.5.
2.5? That's weird.
Yeah.
Episode 2.5.
We have to do another 0.5 episode so we can get him back.
Get him back. Yeah, we can do another half-ass episode like this one. Okay, that was a joke. No one laughed.
Sorry.
So anyway, this is Claude, and who am I talking with?
Justin.
Okay, so we're your hosts for the...
we won't use our last names.
We won't, because that's called anonymity. Anyway.
And that's what the Internet is for.
Very, very good episode. This episode 220, I believe it was. And but first, let's look at our little list of things we got to talk about. Let's talk about the Lost, the news in the world of Lost. Number one is apparently J.J. Abrams is leaving. Couldn't tell if he was leaving the show or if this article was just referencing the fact that the season's over.
So where was this article from?
Ooh, good question. I'm going to say the internet.
Sorry, I thought you might know.
Safe answer. I just Googled Lost in the news section, and whatever came up, it's from some online version of news.
In the future, maybe we'll link some of the stuff we will.
We will.
For now, just go find it.
That's how we do. So what's really interesting, which I'm sure we could all have guessed, but now it's nice to hear JJ say it, is that, I quote, the ending of this year in Lost blows the ending of last season out of water. It's an incredible finale. And apparently things won't be out of the blue, but, quote, what happens at the very end of this year, for me, is the greatest finale I've ever heard, and that it's going to apparently tie some things together that have been brewing from the beginning of the season, which, as we know, the Lost guys like to... I lost my train of thought.
Right. Well, in the first season, there were some obvious things, the hatch, the raft, that were sort of building.
Yeah. Okay.
This season, I'm not really sure what that would be. Maybe Henry. I don't know.
Yeah. Or Echo. Oh, we gotta talk about the next on Lost thing, man. There's some interesting things going on.
Oh yeah,
there.
but that's for later. Because we don't want to spoil anything.
So our second bit of news was this article I read that was questioning if Libby and Alu were axed because of the actresses who play them got the DUIs. And here's some funny quotes from some random people on the net. Jude says, I believe the off-camera trouble that both of them had is the reason why they are both killed off the show at the same time. And MS Bo said, I believe they are dead. I wonder if those two were eliminated because of the DWI thing. Or is that just a coincidence? Oh, Bo, you're so silly. I
read an interview with Lindelof and Hughes where they claimed that this was the plan all along and that it has nothing to do with
Exactly. I think the first thing is, yes, the creators have said it has nothing to do with it. I saw what's her name, who plays Anna Lou, say that she sort of knew, that her character's going to die anyway, and
right.
Plus,
now, however, I must say, especially Libby walking in felt a bit tacked on. Like did she really need to just show up? Oh, hello, shoot me too.
Yeah. Well, remind me. There's something I want to mention about why she might not be dead. I'm going to make a little note here.
Oh dear. Oh, and I want to give credit to Gilgamesh from the episode thread, who suggested that the title, Two for the Road, might be a reference to the drunk driving thing.
Ooh, that's interesting. Thank you, Gilgamesh.
Since it's the episode where they both die, it does seem like a lot of coincidence, if that's a coincidence.
Yeah. So, but I was going to say the main problem with this theory that they were axed is that these episodes are filmed weeks in advance. And the drunk driving incident was fairly recent, if I'm not mistaken. So it wouldn't have really coincided.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it was. Actually, I think it was in December. But
Oh, was it? Wow, then that throws
I believe
the theory out of the
so.
water.
Because I think, a case, when you get, this is some technical information here. When you're, charged with some crime, it usually takes, a few months before you actually get, punished, or it goes to, trial. You have some sort of hearing or whatever. So.
Yeah, but what you don't need a hearing for is to find out that Bad Twin was published this week. That is, of course, the.
Wow, that was a segue.
I know that is of course the Lost tie-in book that was written by Gary Troop, which, as we all should know, is an anagram for purgatory, which, as we calculated earlier, is a 0.05% chance that you could sort of randomly get that name, giving the 7 letters of purgatory and the 20.
And I'd just like to point out, technically, the probability is 1/7 factorial.
It is. That is definitely the probability.
Coming from the
we reduced it given the fact that, of course, having every letter filled by A, or, ABB, not
right.
actually spelling words would reduce the
I mean, they were going to have to, conform to English, rules. The letters weren't going to be arranged in just anyway. But still, that's sort of a lower, bound for the
What's
the
not a lower bound is the fact that apparently, from what I read in this article, the manuscript that Sawyer was reading was supposed to be Bad Twin.
Right.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that immediately for once.
I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed that Jack wants the guns back from Sawyer, and he throws his book in the fire.
What an ass! The last page gets burnt. I mean, really, he didn't need to do that. I mean, the thing to do if you're threatening somebody is hold it over the fire.
And then he pulls a gun out on him. It seems like you would. I mean, if the gun's gonna be the thing to get him moving, just pull out the gun.
I know. Yeah, the paper is your first step, and then you go to the gun.
Yeah.
But even that, I mean, you threaten it. If you just throw it in the fire, now he has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Sawyer's already proved himself to be pretty difficult to crack as far as just, threatening him with violence.
Yeah, you got to sleep with him, right, Lou?
Hello.
So, but before we move on, I do want to mention this pretty hilarious quote from Bob Miller, who's the president of Hyperion, which is the company that publishes Bad Twin. He said, quote, "We got this manuscript from this guy, and we couldn't reach him. He apparently got on this plane in Australia and has been lost at sea." Apparently he said that while trying to play it straight as best he could. Of course, he's referencing this idea that Gary Troop is a character on the plane that went down. Anyway. Let's move on to the episode thread recap. Do you of course we're referencing the ubiquitous episode thread on the Lost forums.
Lost TV. That's the best forum as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, and I second that.
Lost/TV. No, dash TV.
Dash, please.
.com. Go there, go to the message board. There's lots of discussion, and that's where we get all of our ideas.
And hopefully you're listening to this because you felt sorry for us because you saw our post on that forum.
Right, because that's the only place you can get listeners from.
Begging you to go listen to these two people spout off. Anyway, Justin, I'll let you recap anything interesting you read in that very, very long thread. So go ahead.
All right. Okay, let's see. Now, I didn't get a lot out of it. I mean, I got a lot of ideas, but I don't have a lot. One thing I did want to mention that I didn't notice, obviously, because it wasn't in the episode, is that apparently during one of the commercial breaks they ran a Hanzo Foundation commercial.
Whoa.
And, yeah. And if you go to thehanzofoundation.org, you can actually see what they saw. It's there's not much to it. It's very short, maybe a 20-second little thing, but apparently they run it. And actually the narrator, I believe, is good old Carlton Hughes. It sure sounds like his voice based on the Lost podcast, so I believe that's him doing the narration in the commercial. But anyway, supposedly that's connected to some sort of big online mystery thing where
I just typed in the Hanzo Foundation.com, and I didn't actually get anything.
.org.
Ooh, well, there you go, people.
That's where
learn from my mistake.
Wrong. All of you that typed in .com, type in .org.
Well, that'll do it. I love those online web mazes and all that stuff. It really helps to, create the idea that all this is really happening.
And I believe there's a section about it now.
This site is fancy. I love
Lost TV forums. Yeah, there's a nice intro.
Whoa! It's like uber futuristic. What's going on? I'm a little scared, actually. I know it's just like an animation, but still.
Yeah. No, I was fairly impressed with it myself.
Because I remember going to all these sites before, and there really wasn't anything to see. But maybe they revamped it.
Well, when the unofficial ones were usually very unimpressive. I mean, they just sort of like slap them together,
give us your money at this address.
Yeah, buy your Hanzo T-shirt. It's only $15.99.
Oh. I love that one picture they have of Hanzo. They're just gonna keep using that picture.
Yeah, well, it's a scary picture. Yikes!
What are you gonna do? Okay, on to the next idea.
Right. Okay, let's see. What else did I get from that?
I just for a little backtrack. I'm on the HanzoFoundation.org, and I clicked on executive bios.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, these pictures of the executives look so much like stock photography. It's ridiculous. Especially Hugh McIntyre and Peter Thompson, some of the most generic names I've ever heard in my entire life. I just want this. Oh, and the board.
As opposed to Gary Troop, which is a very odd name.
And Jacob Vanderfield. I don't believe you exist, sir. Sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. I think I'm out of material as far as the episode thread. I want to. Oh God, wait. I'm so professional. Oh no, now I lost it. No. Oh, here it is. I promise I'll get really good at this eventually.
Don't worry, no one listens.
Let me see here. Okay, China Mom, who does these sort of rundowns in the episode thread every week.
Oh, we love China Mom. Hi, China Mom.
I heartily recommend this person's, who knows who they are, but this person's rundowns. They seem to be pretty good at catching subtle things that other people don't necessarily latch on to.
I like to think she's a Chinese soccer mom.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think so, but, that's what I like to picture.
The location is the Midwest. I mean, could be Chinese mom in the Midwest, certainly, but who knows? It's just a picture of a dog for the avatar. So anyway, she mentioned that
I love it. It's a she, too, huh?
Yeah, well,
has to be.
Maybe it's not. Who knows? What was that?
Oh, no, it's a she. Until she emails us and... Oh, what was that? Was that a noise?
Yeah, I heard... Nah, never mind.
I think you pressed the button.
Was it me? Okay. So the names that Alu and Jack's dad choose for each other.
I knew they had to mean something.
Yeah. Alu says Tom for Jack's dad, and Tom was Kate's old boyfriend's name. Apparently.
Oh, that's a little lame.
I didn't remember that, but yes. And Jack's dad chooses Sarah, who was Jack's ex-wife.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a little weird.
So I don't know. This it's under the more than coincidence.
I just had a wild thought that's probably inaccurate. What if Jack's dad was the person that Sarah was having an affair with?
Interesting you would have that wild thought. I read that wild thought many times in the episode thread.
It just hit me. I got to say, I'll share credit with, independent innovation, as they call it, but it just hit me out of nowhere. But that would be strange. That would be...
A lot of people were suggesting that's what that was supposed to suggest.
I like to think it's Desmond. I like to think she's having an affair with Desmond, though.
Yeah, a lot of people said that, too. That's apparently a mystery. I don't know. I barely care about it, but apparently it's, All
right, are we done with your segment here? Because you got another segment.
Let me think. I think I'm done. Yeah, I'll say yeah, I'm done with that segment. So what's my next segment?
Can I just mention that this podcast is brought to you by AudioBlog, the best moblog there is.
Are we gonna get it for free if we do ads for them?
Well, let's just do the ads and then see if they offer to pay us.
Oh, okay. Okay,
That makes sense,
sounds like a great plan. That's what everybody does.
Yeah.
Give
a little, you get a little, right?
Right. Okay, so I guess what I'm supposed to do now is talk about the official podcast, and I really have nothing to say about it because the only thing I was going to mention as far as that goes was the Lindelof and Hughes comments about the recent episode not being related to the DUI thing.
Oh, okay. So you've already talked about that.
They said a few things. I mean, they tend to sort of babble and be silly, and it's hard to extract information. It's nice to get an inside track, but it's like pulling teeth with those guys, and they just sort of like they dance around some kind of real answer, and then they just go off on some tangent, and I don't have much to report about the most recent one, but I will listen to it and try to point out when they do say something interesting.
Well, I'd just like to say here at the Lost Lowdown, we always stay on track. But speaking of gas prices, no, I'm kidding.
Zing.
Oh, I do.
Right.
Can I just mention this? It's nothing to do with Lost, but the price of crude oil a barrel has gone down $5 in the last 2 days. So
wow.
if you're looking at the pumps and wondering, why the prices are so low, that's the reason. Just a little update from me to you guys.
The prices, okay. Thank you for that. I noticed the next thing here is the Lost Diary, and I guess we both read it and both knew what the deal is. I wanted to say I noticed that, and who knows?
This is referencing the ABC.com Lost Diary, by the way.
Right. If you go there. Now, some people have said that the writers have officially sort of disowned the diary as not being.
That's what I've heard.
Officially a part of the show. I've never actually seen, such an interview or whatever, but that's what they claim. Anyway, the most recent one actually makes mention of Steve, who I don't know, is I guess one of the background characters who may or may not be dead.
Well, and that's the thing. I didn't really know if the diaries were specifically talking about that Steve or not.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I just assumed that they were just because it's the same name. But it isn't an uncommon name.
I feel like whoever writes this thing is just sort of barely is watching the show. It's just like some of the stuff they talk about is just sort of ridiculous. But
yeah, I mean, I don't really like it. Whoever does that, I don't really care for their writing very much. But
well, the big recap is just to say that the diary writer referenced the fact that he or she, sounds like a she to me, came back to her camp and saw Steve's shirt. Steve being her brother, who I guess she assumed was in the hatch.
Now that makes it even more ridiculous because originally we thought, their brother's Henry Gale, and so
now it's really getting sort of silly. But the weird thing is how she says, his shirt is hanging from the drying branch on the tree right next to my shelter! ! If I'm crazy, then what the hell is his shirt doing there? I plan on speaking to Jack about it later, and when he tries to hand me some nonsense excuse, I'll show him the shirt. Let's see what he has to say about that, underline that. But it's like, how can you prove who owns a shirt? I mean, there's got to be tons of clothing lying around that place. It's like, ooh, Jack, look, I got my brother's shirt. He's going to be like, okay, go talk to Libby, and she'll calm you down and give you some sedatives. I don't know. Oh, I forgot Libby's dead or shot.
Right.
More on that later.
Yeah, right.
Actually, we can talk about that now.
We should get to the interesting stuff at some point here.
Yeah, sorry guys, for all of you who are hanging in there for dear life. Actually, this is the part of the show where we can actually talk about the show.
Yay!
How that goes. This is the rundown of what happened.
This is going to be my favorite part, I think.
Good. I only made a couple big notes about what happened, but we can...
I have a shitload, so I'll make up for it.
Well, good. Hey, this is a rated PG podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. We'll edit that awful word out.
We really won't, but
I know.
So, do you want to start? Or you go ahead. You got a lot of stuff. Why don't you just...
Okay.
Let's
Watch me say that, and then I'm lying.
yeah.
Okay, I basically made notes. I watched the episode again. Okay, so one question I have is, how does Henry know that Ana Lucia killed Goodwin, etc.? How would he know that? I don't see how it's possible they were alone.
No, well,
ostensibly.
it's because Henry's God.
Okay.
Remember how Henry said, God can't see this place? Sometimes people speak in, like, third person, So he's like, God can't
see this place because he's locked in a hatch.
And he's locked in the hatch, so of course he couldn't see the place. No,
well, that makes sense now. God, you should go post in the theories and speculations.
I'm sure 5 people already did. I think what's interesting, how can I explain that? I would say that maybe, was Goodwin dead, though, when Ana Lucia left? Like, maybe he was, like, sort of like, alive.
Remember, she, like, flipped him over and he was impaled on a...
Yeah, but I feel like maybe he was, like, alive for a little bit, and then, like, somebody found him.
Okay.
And then he died, impaled.
I don't buy that, but okay.
I don't either. I don't know how he could know that. Maybe he was just fishing. Maybe he just sort of, you killed Ana Lucia, and she didn't deny it. One of those, like, 50s things, like.
Right.
I don't know how to reference that. But that's the only thing I could think of, or else it's just bad writing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he shouldn't. I mean, he mentions that, that Goodwin was telling him about her, so apparently Goodwin was sneaking off, I guess, and communicating somehow.
Yeah.
Without the knowledge of the telesection people.
But, what if, does this make any sense? Walk with me on this tangent. What if, this makes no sense, but what if, remember the guy Ana Lucia thought was another and she had him locked in the thing?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be Nathan.
What if he was really the another and Goodwin was like an imposter? So when, would we say Nathan? When Nathan was killed...
Yeah, Nathan.
That doesn't make any sense, because then Goodwin would have to... Yeah, okay, never mind.
Well, Henry knows about Goodwin. I mean, if...
I was just trying to figure out a way where Henry could find out that one of the others died, but it wasn't Goodwin who died, Maybe there's some sort of switcheroo there. But anyway...
Well, maybe you should formulate your theories before the show next time.
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, next question. Why does Henry attack Ana Lucia and never make an attempt to attack anyone else?
The ostensible reason is that she's bad. She's one of the bad people.
She's worse than Saeed? Or...
Okay, this actually goes to one of my big questions, is why do they keep untying him? Every other episode, he is sort of like either he's just sort of bound and on the bed, or he's actually like strapped to the wall. They keep going back and forth between those two, between tying him up and sort of just having him bound. And it's like after the last episode and everything, why is he not tied up like he was?
Well, Ana Lucia made a big production of him untying himself, but then I didn't understand why no one then tied I guess so little time has elapsed.
But no, what I'm saying is in the beginning of the episode, when she goes in there, he's his legs and hands are bound, but he's not like strapped down to anything. Like remember that one episode where they had like
which allowed him to attack her.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this guy's dangerous. Why are you?
Maybe that's your explanation.
What's the explanation?
They had to have him attack her, so they couldn't have him like.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I mean, that's a bad explanation, but
yeah.
Maybe that's it.
So yeah, why did he attack her and no one else? Maybe he sort of, at the end of his line, he realizes that he's gonna die either way. So he has nothing. I don't know. At this point, I mean, I've never understood his motivations. He's gone back and forth so much; it's just sort of ridiculous.
I mean, he seems to suggest it's some sort of revenge thing, but
he didn't suggest that.
I barely buy that.
Yeah, it came so suddenly that it seemed like Locke came in one night and like gossiped to Henry, and Lucia killed Goodwin, and and then
Yeah.
so the next morning when Aunt Lucia comes in there and Henry's all pissed because he just heard, so I don't know,
Right.
I wouldn't put it past Locke. He's crafty. No.
Maybe not. He has been doing some sneaking around. All right, my next question. We're never going to get through this shit.
No.
My next question is, what was... Okay, you answered this when we talked earlier. What was Jack's dad doing in Australia? Why was it dangerous?
Oh, so here's my theory on why Jack's dad hired Ana Lucia, as it were. Some people might watch the episode and say, okay, she didn't protect him for anything. But I think what he wanted was protection from himself. He knew that he was really depressed and was going to be drinking, but he needed to,
What?
Okay, welcome back.
After a short break,
Yeah,
we're back. We had some technical
difficulties.
difficulties. Thank you. I knew we were going to say that.
Okay, I don't remember where we left off.
Oh, who cares? All right, next question.
Yeah.
I figure we jump back into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think what we were talking about is what Jack. I think you were saying what your theory was on why Jack's dad enlisted Ana Lucia to accompany him to Australia.
Correct. Sorry. My theory is that Jack's dad needed someone to protect him from himself. As you remember in that scene when he pounds on quote Sarah's door, he's like, okay, let's go. And she's like, now? I mean, we've been doing nothing and drinking for 4 days. Now you want to go? He's like, yeah, now's the time. So I think he was there. He was working up courage to go confront this lady about his kid. And he knew that it might turn violent, especially since he's pretty much a drunkard right now. And as you saw in the scene,
it was sort of ridiculous. Like every scene he was in, he's just pounding alcohol. Like,
yeah.
All right, we get it. He's an alcoholic. Jeez.
Yeah, as you saw in the scene, like, he's about to, break her door down and bust in there and do God knows what. And Ana Lucia, being a former cop, which is something he, I think, found of interest. She sort of has a specific moral caliber, except when she's killing people.
Of course, he doesn't know about her sordid past. But.
Exactly. So I think she did fulfill her purpose. It may not have seemed like, she was, it may on the surface it seemed like he needed someone to protect him from someone else, but I think it was really to make sure he didn't do anything too crazy.
I think another China Mom suspension of disbelief in this, related to this topic is, would she really just go with some stranger to Australia?
Exactly. I was wondering about that too. When he propositioned her, and I'm like, she's the kind of person who would totally, not buy it. She would be like, I'm not going to go away to some foreign country with this strange man. But, she was pretty desperate, and I think she answers that question when she calls her mother at sort of towards the end of this episode, when she's like, I just trying to get as far away from you as possible.
Yeah.
And
I could buy that she wanted to run away, but I maybe she just saw an opportunity and took it or whatever. But I
think that's what we're supposed to believe.
Yeah, I think it is too, but I almost don't.
Yeah. I did like that scene, though. I like how it was written, when he tries to do the small talk and she's just totally ignoring him, at first. But that was good. That was pretty in line for her character.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a strange mirror image of the scene Jack at the end of season 1.
She's just picking up that whole family at airport bars.
I know. More than coincidence, as China Mom might say.
Wait, when did that scene take place? When did her and Jack was on the way back? That was when they were going back to L.A. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She was already leaving. I mean, which makes some people wonder. I read on the episode thread a few times. Did she know that he was his dad? I mean, probably not, but
probably. I mean, they didn't have.
But it's kind of weird. I mean, she was right there with him. Then she's at the airport and she hears him talking about him, and it's sort of, she's like this close to.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is how different she looked in and that scene with Jack when they're about to get on that fateful flight, she looks very like business oriented, and like did she have like a business suit on and everything?
Yeah, I think so.
Like she didn't look like some ex-cop running away from her past type of thing. That was really weird. I wonder if that was conscious to make her look like that, or if
I'm gonna say since that was that far back that they just didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If they didn't really know why she was there, they just put her in that anyway.
Yeah, that would be my theory. Okay, next question. This is a short question. Did the others let Michael go?
I think, I think they did. I think it's a little too ridiculous. Because you know why? The big reason is because anytime Jack says anything, you think the opposite. Jack was like, well, come on. He heard me screaming, and he can't. I mean, come on, Jack. Nobody buys that. He just randomly hears you screaming, and he just runs towards you. I mean, come on. No one buys that. No one buys that. Just like when Charlie. It
reminds me of Jack's argumentative technique, where you say, well, what if this is true? And he goes, well, what if it's not?
Yeah, it just reminds me of, when the writers are trying to plant certain things into the audience mind, like when everyone found the pallet of food supplies, Charlie was like, well, maybe the hatch, there was a lockdown at the hatch because they didn't want anyone to see the food. It's like, okay,
now,
come
on. We weren't podcasting yet when that shit went down, but let's just say there's a lot of weirdness with that I don't buy at all, and maybe we'll talk about it someday.
Oh, I'm sure it'll come up in about 5 years when they get back to it.
All right, here's another question, basically related to the same thing. Is Michael telling the truth about the others, or at least about what he supposedly saw?
I mean, obviously, there's something more going on to what he said and what happened. I think right now it looks like he is going to try to trade or return Henry for his boy.
Right.
So
now, but in the scenario he set up, he's staying behind. So,
Well, I guess he's behind, and actually, it sort of makes me. I forgot about the next on Lost thing. So there's some stuff we got to talk about in that. But to answer the question, I think he knows a lot more than what's going on, or what he's telling people. So.
But do you think that description is in any way true?
Oh, the description of the camp people?
Yeah.
I want to believe what he says, because I want to believe we're actually getting information from the show. I want to believe that the stuff characters are saying is actually true.
Yeah.
So we can paint our own picture of what's going on the island. So I'm gonna believe it until I find something else, because he mentions another hatch, and if Michael was concocting this story, just in the guise of getting Walt back or whatever, if he was concocting a story about finding this camp of others, why would he mention that they're guarding a hatch? Why wouldn't he just say? And this would have been more convincing. Just say they had Locke at the camp. Walt. They had Walt at the camp. I saw him, but he was under armed guard or whatever, and I couldn't get to him. I mean, if you actually say, hey, I saw my boy, he's here, that's a lot better than saying, I think my boy might be in the hatch, in this random hatch somewhere. I mean, that's an iffy plan. So I want to believe that that he is telling the truth, because it just doesn't make any sense to tell the story that he told. But then again, if you go back to Henry Gale and the crazy stories he's told, it doesn't make any sense to tell, certain specific lies when it's easier to tell something a little more convincing.
Right.
So, case of bad writing, maybe? I don't know. But I right now I'm going to believe that his description of what he saw is true.
My personal opinion is that if it is true, it's only sort of partially true. Like, I'll believe that maybe such a camp exists. Certainly such a hatch exists. I believe that that's pretty much true. But I don't necessarily believe that's all he knows about the others.
No.
Especially based on the ending. It seems like it seems like those people he's describing are just not the kind of people who are going to make a deal with him to do something like this.
Yeah.
from the way he
can we talk about why? Because if Libby, so basically here's the idea. When Michael shot Libby and Ana Lucia. Sorry if that's a spoiler for anyone. Just kidding.
You're not sorry, or it's not a spoiler?
It's not a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry though.
Okay. Wanted to be clear.
If you go with the idea that Michael is sort of trying to trade Walt or something, or maybe the others said, hey, killed bad people or something like that. I mean, he killed Anna Lou, who obviously was a bad person, and Libby was also a failed section person who was not taken by them, so we can assume that she's bad. But then why would she be bad? What is she, obviously the big question is, what was she doing in Hurley's mental institution?
Right.
And if only we can get Hurley drunk, he just might remember where he saw her.
I know. God, will we ever find out now? Jeez.
God.
But, I mean, Libby just, walks in. I mean,
yeah. Oh, I did want to mention that I read somewhere that one of the reasons Libby might not be dead, because remember she was holding a pillow or a blanket or something when she came in?
Right.
And she sort of got shot in that region, too. It was really weird. I thought that whole composition was weird. She didn't get shot in the upper body. She got shot in, the lower body.
Right.
It's really weird. People were thinking she had the wine bottles or something in there, so that's one of the reasons that she might not be dead.
Now, is that enough to stop a bullet? I mean, I think not. But
I think it's enough to lessen the impact, I mean, you can get shot as long as it doesn't hit vital organs. You're okay. All you got to worry about is bleeding to death.
right.
And as we know, Jack is barely on his way back to the hatch. I love that line. Locke is like, Jack, I gotta tell you something.
I know.
And I could just see Jack putting his hands on his head. Locke, did you lie to me again?
Haven't we talked about this already?
God. Especially when Jack apologizes to him. Didn't he apologize in this episode?
Yeah, they had a whole touching scene where Jack said, I was wrong about Henry Gale. You and Saeed were right. Shame on me.
Couldn't believe it.
And then Locke, seems to be, well, you did what you thought was right. They have a sort of reconciliation, but he still doesn't tell him until he realizes, oh shit,
he used to be this grand, very intelligent, noble man, and now he's just this aging fuddy-duddy who, he doesn't know where he's going, if he's coming or going, and it's just what are you doing these days, Locke?
He's bumbling. That's the only word I can use for it.
Yeah.
He's a bumbling old codger.
Oh, no, the hatch is on lockdown. That's okay. I'll just squeeze under this thing. Oh, no, my leg is injured. What are the odds?
Legs first. Now I can see the map.
Exactly. Man, if I would have went head first, I'd be dead.
Oh, God, and this whole thing where Henry, Henry, I'm so glad you're back. Thank you, Daddy. I mean, Henry.
Yeah. Oh, Daddy, you didn't leave me. I mean, Henry, you're here. I don't have abandonment issues. No, I don't. Yeah.
God.
That's season one Locke.
Heavy-handed writing.
Season one Locke was so good, man. He was so good.
Oh man, Locke. Even in those early days when he was scary Locke, and then he sort of becomes the dependable, wise old sage Locke.
Hey, if you needed some boar, who was gonna get it?
Hey. Nobody else was getting bored.
Yeah. Okay. Can I just mention a couple really small questions here?
Yeah.
I find it very unlikely that Ana Lucia has a cell phone that's capable of making international calls like that, or I should say, working in different cell phone networks.
That's a good point. Although I must say, I believe my parents went to England. They were able to use their cell phone.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I got to say, I know a lot of, there's a couple new, GSM and all that. I mean, not that it's that new, but I know a lot of that stuff is pretty big. Maybe, any GSM network you can use your phone on. I just thought it was weird. I mean, I guess it's plausible to them, or either it's bad writing or it's plausible to the writers, or else they could have just, done a scene where she was at a payphone, Maybe that's less cinematic, I don't know.
Right. They've already done the airport payphone thing a few times.
Man, if I see another shot of that same corridor, that one shot where you see the runway in the background and that little oceanic sign,
Yep.
and you just, they were sort of locked and everyone had walked down that little hall,
right.
down that little space between the chairs, and Rose was there. I mean, everybody's been in that one little corridor.
It feels to me like a really long, extended version of the end of Jackie Brown, where we see like the same thing from different people's perspective, except it's like 20 people, and it's over the course of like 2 years. Like, we're never gonna get out of that fucking hotel. Airport.
Yeah.
Hotel. God.
I'd also like to question why is there wine in the palette? I can understand.
That's what I call a minor question.
No, that is a very minor question.
Because there's some very frivolous things in there. I mean, there were those Oreos and
Well, I can understand that. We understand snack foods and all that stuff, but wine? Come on.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, that's all my small questions.
Okay. Definitely a small question. I don't have an answer for that except to say that I think there's, the choices for what went in the food drop thing seem very odd to me in general.
Yeah.
So, throwing in wine, it's still weird. Maybe it's a little weird.
I just can't wait till someone tells Kate about the wine, and she can go, "Who would put wine in a supply drop?" Oh, Kate, you're always good for that.
And sounds like, oh, ha 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 ha, I'm pregnant.
Exactly. Oh, whatever. Is she still alive? I don't remember.
Oh God, the show does not care about the following characters right now.
Yeah. Rose, Bernard,
Claire,
Charlie, Echo,
Charlie,
Claire.
Son, yeah, you got them.
Yeah.
They're just who cares what they're doing.
God. But I gotta tell you, an episode without Aaron, seeing Aaron and her mama, is fine with me. I'm tired of Claire.
Another round of the baby's sick.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I'm tired of seeing Claire and the baby's always sick. It's like, Claire, the baby's not sick. It's sleeping. Like, shut up.
Oh God, yeah. I don't mind her not being there, but she really is just not even a presence right now.
Can I just mention that I'm very disappointed that they're not using Saeed. I mean, he's just doing. I mean, wasn't he like building some sort of dining room table or something at one point? What was he doing?
Yeah, they were building something. I don't know what that was supposed to be. I don't know what he was doing today. I mean, whatever.
He's just like randomly toiling, building stuff. I'm like, Saeed, you're much better than this. Like, you can do stuff. I mean, next to like Jack and Locke, but I would say he's probably more capable of doing a lot of the things, especially the decision-making processes. He should be involved, but he's just so like uninterested or whatever. I don't know what's going on.
Something about Saeed that I was going to mention is that he actually pulled the shoot myself to make it look like the captive.
Oh, I forgot about that
trick. With Nadia in Iraq. So a lot of people on the board were suggesting that maybe he would see through Michael's plan because that's what he's doing.
I think the real question is Saeed Michael? I think that's really what that leads us to. No, that you know what? If someone came to me, if I had a hostage, if I was in a situation and someone's like, "Oh no, the hostage got away and killed 2 of our guys, but he shot me in the arm," I've seen too many movies. I'd be like, I don't buy that. I just do not buy that. He's gonna have a hard time if if Henry's gone in the next episode, he's going to have a hard time explaining what exactly happened. Because how do you have the bad guy have a gun in his hand, shoot 2 people, and wound you, and then I guess he can get away with it if. Oh, see, I was thinking he had to get the gun back, but okay, he could get away with it. He's got some explaining to do, but he could get away with it.
Yeah, he barely. I mean, he really shouldn't, but I think he might, at least for a while.
Yeah, he'd have to basically let Henry go, or either kill Henry and put him somewhere, which he doesn't have time to do actually, because Jack and Locke and them are on their way back. They should be at least.
Yeah, based on that, I got something to tell you.
Maybe what's going to happen is maybe Saeed will be suspicious, but then maybe, because I think what's going to have to happen is Michael's going to have to hide the gun somewhere. He won't have time to put it in the forest anywhere, so he might have to hide it in the house somewhere, and then, a couple years from now, someone will find the gun and realize what really happened.
No, I'm assuming he's just going to give it to Henry.
I don't buy that. You cannot give unless he says, Henry, I killed these 2 people, and I'm letting you go because the boss wants you home, then maybe I could see him trusting Henry. But I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't give Henry the gun. Henry could just shoot me and still leave.
Right.
Like that's too big of a risk.
Well, a lot of people are putting a lot of reading a lot into the scene at the very end where he walks in to where Henry's being held. They're saying that there were some significant glances exchanged that suggested that Henry knew what he was doing, and he was somehow, I don't know. Anyway, they were suggesting that that Henry knew what was going on, and that he wouldn't pose a threat because he's part of the deal.
Why would he know what's going on? Is he a mind reader?
He really shouldn't, but people were suggesting it.
Well,
I won't take credit for this one.
If any of those people are listening, I think you're wrong, people. Sorry. It just doesn't make any sense why Henry would know. I mean, unless he just, instinctively knows.
I mean, he knows about Walt. He knows Michael wants Walt.
Yeah.
So,
You're just saying he doesn't know. Someone just inferred from the situation that, okay, well, Michael's doing this because we're going to do the trade.
Right.
Not that he, has some,
it would be a reasonable leap to make, but
yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, I don't care if he knows or not, but still, he could still just sit there and kill Michael.
He could, yeah, he could.
And he could just wait till, especially since he might know from overhearing that, they don't have the gun, so he could just sit there and shoot everyone who comes to the head.
Unless they're going to spring for a trap or something, like Michael and Henry have a conversation where he says, all right, you go, all right, I'll go, blah, 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 you lead them here, and it'll be some sort of trap.
See, now I don't buy that. I don't buy that Michael killed 2 people. I don't buy that he would put his friends in a trap.
Oh, really? I'm glad you still have faith. This is good, man. Apparently he can't do anything to...
I think Libby was an accident. I think Ana Lucia was deliberate. I think maybe because she killed Goodwin, or maybe specifically because she's bad. I think that's why she died.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I think it's specifically they said, okay, we'll give you Michael back. I mean, we'll give you Walt back, but we need Henry, and then Ana Lucia has to die or something. So, I mean, like I said, Libby was an accident apparently.
So I'm going to throw out a hypothetical scenario. What if it wasn't Ana Lucia? It was Michael and Locke or Jack or somebody else there. And he got the same sort of opportunity where he had a gun. I mean, do you think he would have done the same thing, or you really think it's specific to Ana Lucia?
No. I don't think there's any reason to kill any of the other people. I mean, I guess you could say there's no reason to kill her, but if it was Michael and Jen or somebody, I just don't see him shooting them just so he could make it look like Henry escaped or something like that. I mean, it's going to be hard.
I really think he would have done it no matter who was there. I don't feel like it was that selective. Because if it really was that selective, I mean, how could he possibly know that he's going to end up alone with Ana Lucia?
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't. That's not a prerequisite for this situation, though. Basically, this is the deal. well, obviously we got to see how it plays out. We got to see what the real idea behind this whole thing is. But if the whole idea is to trade Locke, I keep saying Locke, trade Walt for Henry, then all he needs to do is figure out a situation where Henry can get out of there. And he's sitting there talking to her, and the opportunity presents himself. She's basically saying, "I can't do it." He's like, "Well, I can do it." He's responsible for my boy being gone, so whatever. So he has the opportunity to get the gun from her. I think it was also interesting when she said something about Sawyer having all the guns. He seemed sort of, Michael didn't know that, but he seemed sort of specifically surprised that, the guns weren't readily available, or that, they were sort of isolated somewhere. So when he saw that she had a gun, I think he just went on the opportunity for that. I think if it was someone else there and without the gun, he would have had to figure out some other way to get Henry out of there. I just think he's going to have a hard time explaining how Henry got a gun and shot two people, and and any person who watches any TV crime show, you can walk in there and say, okay, well, how did Libby get shot from where she was and Ana Lucia get shot from where she was? I mean, if there was any kind of struggle, Ana Lucia would not have been on the couch,
Right.
if Michael or someone was struggling with Henry. So
that was bad planning on his part.
It's very bad planning. It's going to be a hard sell. And I think we'll see what Jack has to say being a doctor. But anyway.
Right. A bunch of people said that. I want to bring up a couple of lines that I thought were sort of weird. I guess I didn't quite get them, or I don't know. They seemed worth bringing up. There was one exchange. The exchange right before Ana Lucia is supposedly going to shoot Henry, I guess, and or is it early? Whatever. It's sometime in the episode. When Henry and Ana Lucia are talking, and he says, you killed Goodwin and blah blah blah.
You're the killer, Ana Lucia.
Right. You're the killer. All you bored people, you're crazy. You thought it was all sorts of. I read all sorts of other things that was supposed to be.
What?
I read someone who thought it was you're to kill her, Ana Lucia.
He like I told you before when I heard that audio on the Next On thing, his delivery of that line is so weird. He didn't just say you're the killer, Ana Lucia. He's like, you're the killer, Ana Lucia. It's like this weird thing. I don't know what he's doing.
But when you see his lips move, it's clearer what he's actually saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, in that scene, she says, Goodwin tried to kill me. And then, it is right before she's about to shoot him. And then Henry says, did he?
Oh, I love that. You know what? I think that's classic Henry being an ass. That's what I totally, because he has shown himself to exploit any opportunity like that. Locke says, the sky is blue, and Henry goes, is it? And then Locke is totally thrown into question about everything.
You've been here for God knows how. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he just, anytime you say anything, Henry just wants to make you ambivalent, reconsider it. So I think he was trying. The idea that maybe Goodwin wasn't trying to kill her is very interesting. But wasn't it obvious that he was going to kill her?
It seemed pretty obvious from the audience's perspective. But the fact that he said that just seemed, I don't know, that's a weird thing to say.
My stance on that is that he's just being an ass. He's just being Henry Gale. But I think what's interesting is, they have this thing about good people, bad people, and we almost got more information about it in this episode. But does it if Goodwin is a good person, or I guess we can assume that the others consider themselves good people. Maybe they're sort of outside of good or bad because they're the people to judge, and they not are to be whatever.
They have claimed that they're. Henry does specifically say that they were good people.
Oh, that's right. Anyway, what I thought was interesting was that it seems like killing other people would sort of make you bad. So if Goodwin was a good person, his killing of other people, wouldn't it make you bad? If not, then why is Ana Lucia bad?
kidnapping babies and,
Yeah.
almost
Well,
killing.
I mean, kidnapping babies I can understand because they think, the babies are good, so therefore we should, they should be with us. There's a rationale behind that.
But I know
what you mean.
I mean, is that really
Yeah.
a good thing to do? I mean, I don't know. I guess their end justifies the means, people.
Well, every time I kidnapped a kid, I regretted it, so I sort of stopped that.
Well, we all know how that turned out.
Yeah.
Another line I wanted to mention is when Michael says, right before the whole debacle at the end, Ana Lucia says, well, I can't kill him or whatever. Michael says, I'll do it. I'll kill him because that's what they do. I thought that was a really
it was weird.
Yeah,
Wasn't he very adamant about the fact that they're savages or something?
Yeah, they're animals. He said like 2 or 3 times. And then he said, I'll kill him because that's what they do. Like, I don't know what that means. I mean, they kill people? Is that what he's saying? I mean, they really don't have a history of killing that many people as far as I know.
Yeah, they really don't. I feel like it might be his playing into the whole deception about what the others are, and he's saying, oh, they're animals, they live in squalid conditions, and I mean, what really makes you an animal? I mean, how savage can they be? He says they're mostly women and old people living on the beach. I mean, how savage
I mean,
they
that
really
seems to contradict what he was saying earlier.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Where he sort of described them as like docile, hunter-gatherers or whatever, that just sort of sit there and live their, primitive existence.
Well, think about what happened. Think about that though. He told, Jack and them, the people who he wants to go sort of attack the others, that they're docile and they're, not that armed. But then he tells Ana Lucia, they're evil and they're mean and they're whatever. So I think he's sort of playing it depending on who he's talking to. Plus he probably knew he was gonna, kill her when he was telling her that, or so he, at least he had an inkling that he might be able to.
Right.
I thought it was a weird line when Jack's dad says, I forgot the line now. Never mind. I can't remember. I have the line.
Write things down. That's what I did.
You know what? I wrote down the line, but I don't know the context, so I don't know. Now I really don't know what the line means. But basically, the line was he says like 2 drinks in an airplane bar.
Oh.
I forgot the context though.
Yeah, I don't remember the context either, but I do remember the line.
It's a good line. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
We talked earlier before we were recording the podcast. About Locke, Locke saying, oh, Ana Lucia got that gash in her head because I left the water on and she slipped. And, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. But the big question is, why would it go along with that? And I stated, Locke wanted basically this idea that, everyone sort of knows that once Jack comes back, Henry's pretty much dead because, he wasn't going to get Michael. So Henry thinks he's going to die. Locke thinks, Jack is going to want to kill him, but Locke wants more time with Henry. Therefore, he didn't want Jack to know that Henry tried to kill Ana Lucia. And at this point, Ana Lucia wants to kill Henry herself. So that's the only reason I can assume that she would go along with Locke is so that, Jack wouldn't say, oh, well, he tried to kill her. Let's go storm in there right now and kill him,
That brings up another point I wanted to mention. Also, Henry was sort of, I don't really know, it seemed like he was sort of stroking Locke's ego, telling him, oh, you're good, and I was coming to get you, and you're
I totally
great.
don't, you know what? I love this show because there's lines like that when he's like, I was coming to get you. Like, I really want to buy that. I really want to believe it. I just don't. I don't believe it. If you wanted Locke, you guys would have taken him a long time ago.
They could have. Remember when they were following Ethan? Like, Locke was one of the people following Ethan. I mean, they could have gotten him then very easily.
Yeah.
And just chose not to. I mean, it seems very odd.
Unless they want him, the only one now as opposed to before is if they think he knows information about the hatch that they don't know or something like that.
Right.
But Henry is really his character though. I'm really sort of sick of looking at him and hearing him talk because everything he says is just so dishonest and so like, oh Locke, I was coming for you.
Right.
And I just I don't buy that if he's an other as we have come to know the others, how could he get trapped in Russo's booby trap? Like I just don't I've never bought the fact that he got trapped in there. I think I'm gonna contend that he got trapped on purpose.
Right. I mean, I think he did have a mission to go there, but I don't think it's necessarily as he described. And oops, I got caught. That does seem sort of ridiculous for him. But I wouldn't put it past the writers to have that be the case. So
I guess.
My jury's out on that question. Okay. So let me see.
So we had a very many one-liners this episode. Oh, can we just mention how ridiculous it is that as Jack's dad was getting out of the car, what is his name anyway? Tom, Coat Tom.
Oh, his real name is something. I forgot.
Yeah, Doctor. When he's about to get out of the car and Sawyer comes out of nowhere. It's like, I'm walking here. It's like, come on, why are you walking in the middle of the street? And like I said earlier, like
yeah, and when I watch that scene again, it really is the middle of the street.
It's totally. She stops in the middle of the street.
I mean, that's ridiculous in itself. I mean,
exactly.
You can't just stop a car in the middle of the street.
Oh, but in Sydney you can though.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Outback Law, number 203. Yeah. But it just doesn't make any sense that he would be walking that close to the. Why even have that? Was that just so we can there's Sawyer?
That seems to me like a throwaway cameo. I mean
that was really bad.
We know that Sawyer and Jack's dad meet in that bar, and I guess since they were showing it, they decided to throw in a silly little Sawyer cameo.
Yeah.
They seem to like that. I mean, I remember a couple times in season 1 during flashbacks, they'd have a character just sort of walk by in the background.
That's so much better, though. That's so much better than this, really fake. I mean, I'd rather Sawyer be walking across the street to get to the bar, and she stops in the middle of the street, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? Stop in the middle of the street. And he keeps walking. But this, I mean, dang. He just, runs into this.
I'm walking here, and, oh, God. That was completely absurd.
Maybe he was drunk.
Yeah, that's that's still not good enough for me. Okay, so a much less serious thing I want to bring up, just in terms of show writing, is that I will be happy if they never have another scene where someone has to, not Hurley, although that's true too, where someone goes and asks Sawyer for stuff.
If they have it, I guarantee you, if they have another scene where Sawyer has something someone needs, I'm going to vomit and then never watch the show again. How many times I know someone out there knows. Please, if you're listening to this, send us a little comment on this.
Yeah, write a comment, please.
Write a comment. Tell us how many times someone has said, "Hey Sawyer, I need this, I need that,
yeah. I need pregnancy tests, I need guns, I need medicine, blah 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 blah."
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's ridiculous. I really thought they would stop that about 20 times ago, but they keep doing it. It's like, why is he the guy who has everything?
And I mean, it seems like the writers have written themselves into a corner. They had him take everything, and now everybody has to go to him, and so we get the same scene over.
I can understand why they would want to do that. You get this sort of inherent conflict because the thing that they want is from some ornery guy who doesn't want to give it to them. And if Son has everything. Hey, Son, can I have oh, sure, you can have it. Yes, please take it all. Can I ask the question?
What with the pregnancy and all? I don't need anything.
Oh, God. I think Son's off trying to make herself have an abortion. that last episode with that look on her face.
Oh yeah, God, the
Yeah.
looks on faces. Libby's had like 2 looks now, and now she's dead. And
Oh man, I loved it. What was that one? Was it that look when? Was it the look when she said when Harley said, no, it was early in the episode. What was the weird look she gave him in this episode? Was it the if I get drunk I'll know where I know you from?
That was one weird look.
There was something towards the beginning though.
There was a line where Hurley mentioned being in the hospital, and then he sort of tries to get out of it.
Oh, she didn't. You know what? She didn't do a weird look on that one. She did a weird look on the other one. That's what it was.
Yeah, but it. I don't know. I thought I caught a little something when he said the hospital.
To me, she just sort of smiled. She didn't like do a weird like look like she did before. But
they weren't looking at each other. I mean, they were like walking. She was behind him.
That was the same as the first look too. I mean, she did that. That's what I really loved about the first look she gave when because like he doesn't see it, and she doesn't have to make that face, but it's so honest, And that
would be the look at the end of Dave.
Yeah, the look at the very end, the infamous look.
The lead into the flashback.
Yeah. Can I just ask what the hell Hurley was packing for when he was putting all that food in his? I mean, was that a picnic?
I thought 2 gallons of corn, and I don't know about you, but when I go on picnics,
yeah, I
don't usually take along 2 gallons of corn.
Me and my friend were going to go on a picnic last weekend, but then I realized we only had 1 gallon of corn, and like, what we're going to do? I mean, it's not a picnic.
It's
yeah. He was like,
and he's roughly inept apparently, like blankets. Like, does he not know what a picnic is? Like, that was so
and
weird.
She says drinks. He's like, oh, you want a drink? I didn't buy that. He was trying to stuff a bag of beans in his backpack. What are you going to do with beans, Hurley? Man, he's just,
That's like the worst picnic ever.
I got to say, you know what? Here's the one good thing I can say about Jack. He has, how do I phrase this? He has gotten worse the least. Locke, Hurley, Saeed, pretty much everyone on the show has gotten less interesting, more annoying. Jack has been the same, pretty much, Now,
I don't know. Jack had a few episodes where he was very kind of annoying, petty, whiny, and just,
But he's always been like that. He's always been like that. He's never been.
I don't know. First season.
I don't think Jack has ever been that. I don't think he was ever that interesting though, like Locke was, or like Saeed. Saeed was very good.
He was sort of a bland character from the beginning.
And I think he's still pretty much bland. I mean, he's got I didn't say he didn't get worse. I just said he got worse the least.
Yeah, no, I'll buy that.
It's just,
I'll buy that. I should have.
And I say that because in numbers, Hurley was great. He was interesting and he was funny. He wasn't this annoying as he is. He's like, dude, where should I take Libby? Like, shut up.
Numbers, one of the best episodes of season 1. Love that episode.
Yeah.
And every episode of his since then has just been really shitty.
Yeah.
That one.
God, I want some more Saeed action. I think he's. Oh man, I think he's going to be the one to get off the island if anybody does.
Yeah, I have to say he's probably got the best show.
He's probably building a rocket ship and nobody knows.
Oh, that's right. I was going to mention just a small note. There's a thread about this on the board. Having sex on the island just isn't a good idea.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, maybe they have a few condoms, fine, whatever. But they're going to run out at some point, and, maybe you just want to use them up and then whatever, but generally speaking, it's just not a good idea. And the way that happened, I doubt that they had condoms.
I was thinking, you're stranded on a deserted island, or it's kind of deserted. I really don't think they care. I really don't think it's an issue. I'm sure she doesn't want to get pregnant, and all that, but,
Certainly not by Sawyer, of all people.
If she's not, it's all about the timing. So if she's not in her, ovulation stage anyway, the chances are low, if not non-existent anyway, that she could get pregnant. So maybe she sort of knew that when she threw herself onto him.
It's always a gamble, though. I mean, people have tried to do that, and there's no guarantee. I mean, you're taking a risk,
All right, gotta love those. How they just cut you off on the blog there. But anyway,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't. You are taking a risk, but I really don't think they care. I think safe sex is not a big deal on an island like this. And I think it's pretty ridiculous if. I don't think there's any way that they had a condom ready. I mean, that's just.
No way.
It's Sawyer though. Maybe he's quick draw. Quick draw McGraw.
I guess if anybody had one, he was over by his stash, but
yeah.
I don't know. The way it started, it didn't seem like he went to get one or anything.
Hey,
see, that's the thing. Whenever they show, sex generally in things like this, they really don't address those issues most of the time.
Yeah.
People just sort of have sex, and the consequences are never really. It's almost like you can just do it, and who cares?
Just like in real life.
Yeah, I guess so. But now that she's dead, obviously it doesn't matter.
Oh, they killed the baby.
Whether she's pregnant or not, and even if she was. A Sawyer, Lucia baby is. I don't know.
He'd be one wisecracking mofo.
Yeah, I guess.
One wisecracking, slow-talking mofo. She's a very slow talker.
She is, and I noticed she does this thing where she always leans her head to the side.
Yeah, she does. She's a side leaner.
What's the deal with that? Ugh. I rarely seem to just have good straight pop.
Well, and Jack always talks with his eyebrows up and his eyes wide open.
Yeah.
He always looks surprised when he's talking. He's
I saw a really good screen capture on the board of one of his surprised look. It was really ridiculous.
His eyebrows are always
really sucks when you hear me describe it, but trust me, it was hilarious.
I believe it.
Okay.
So let's move on because we got to wrap up. We've already blown through a lot.
All right. I got more, but whatever. That's
you said you want to do spoilers. I don't even know any spoilers. I don't even know if I want to hear any spoilers.
Oh, okay. By spoilers, I just mean discussing next week on Law.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that counts. So if you consider that a spoiler, then stop listening.
Yeah, and thanks for listening thus far.
Indeed, yes, it's been fun and educational. All right, so.
So the big thing is someone says she's dead, and they show Ana Lucia.
Right. Now, we all know that they are notoriously tricky with editing, and who knows. Now, the You're the Killer Ana Lucia pretty much matched up with the way it played out in this episode.
It did.
But they have been known to sort of mix audio and video in the past, and so when they say she's dead, we assume they're referring to Ana Lucia, as she does seem to have died, but some people...
And the one before when Libby was like, "Don't do anything stupid," it was so ominous.
Right.
But now it's just like, oh, kindly word of advice from Libby.
Right. Right. Yeah. The context always makes it seem worse than it is, and
when Bernard, when Rose was like, Bernard, why would you do that? When he wants to make the sign, and it was like,
right.
Why would Rose not want him to do that? Then it's like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, when you get it, it's like, oh, and you don't care anymore.
No.
Yeah, she's dead. Oh, some people are inferring from the fact that I'm turning into a TV reporter. Some say that's all you have to say, and then you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
They're inferring that maybe Libby didn't die, and so.
Oh, I don't think Libby. Did I? Oh, I didn't mention that. That I wholeheartedly think Libby's still alive. Her whole storyline has yet to even really start. So if they kill her off now, it'd be totally ridiculous. I think she's still alive. I think Anna Lucia is the one who's dead. As you know, just to go back to that purgatory idea that the island is purgatory or whatever. The people have mentioned the fact that since Anna Lucia sort of realized what she did was wrong, and she's sad and she's sorry, all that stuff, that she was sort of able to sort of leave the island there, by dying or whatever. I don't really buy all the purgatory stuff, but anyway.
And then there was a shot of Michael where he sort of looks evil. Michael's sort of in the Henry pose, I guess.
What was weird is that that whole voiceover about Michael leading them to whatever, and they weren't they like building stuff, and they were busy. Everyone was busy doing something, and he was sort of like overseeing it, and it was very weird. People did note that he had his arm in a sling, in that footage.
Right. Oh,
and
then another, I'm sorry, I have to mention this before we end the podcast. Now that Anna Lucia is dead, Jack and Anna Lucia's army down to one.
Oh, an army of one. You know what? It was really funny in this episode when Jack was like, when Jack is storming out because he wants to go get the guns from Sawyer. I'm thinking, oh man, he's gonna go get the army ready. The army's been, this whole time the army's been like, in the caves or something training. But of course, that's not true.
Yeah, are we ever gonna see this so-called army? I mean, this is the biggest tease. Like they haven't shown us anything, and we're just supposed to assume there's some army in the background. I mean, I barely believe it exists. It's like the sickness. I mean, I don't know.
I think in that one episode where they mentioned the army again, which was like 6 episodes after they first mentioned it, if anyone's counting, I think we're just supposed to believe there's only a couple people in it because after who was it? Charlie kidnapped Son, and everyone thought it was another. Anna Lucia mentions, well, we got like a few more. We got 4 or 5. I don't know how many she said, but we got a few more. So I think the army is pretty small anyway. Maybe they disbanded because, Anna Lucia and Jack has been spending most of their time in the hatch doing nothing. So, who's training them? And what was Jack gonna do? He's a doctor.
Yeah, I know. That probably seemed like a great idea at the time, but they really went nowhere with that. I mean, that's the idea that didn't happen.
I think another big thing in the next little video is that Echo falling and apparently dying.
I was just going to mention that.
I can't believe he would be dead. His church isn't done yet.
Now, if they kill Echo, I mean, that's the last. I mean, as far as the tail people, I mean, who else is left? Bernard, okay. Bernard, oh God. That's all we get?
Yeah.
No, Echo really shouldn't die. I mean, Libby and Lucia,
that was a big fall, I tried to think about how he could survive that fall, and maybe he grabs a branch. I mean, unless there's water very soon after sort of after he leaves the frame on that fall, I can't imagine how he's alive.
Yeah.
Unless it didn't, unless it appears different than what really happens.
Yeah, because there was I never actually saw it, but there was a Next Week on Lost for the Dave episode where it pretty much looked like Hurley fell off a cliff, and it didn't.
Oh, that must have been when he sort of looks over the cliff and goes, "Whoa."
Yeah,
it's a cliff, man.
I think they may have actually used shots that weren't in the episode.
I think I just realized that Hurley is like a very lame Bart Simpson. He's like, oh, what am I supposed to do, man? Oh, dude. Don't have a cow, Eddie. I forgot the point.
He's the old Bart Simpson.
Yeah, he's old. He's 1994 Bart Simpson.
The catchphrase on the T-shirt, Bart Simpson.
Exactly. God, I had one of those shirts. Ugh.
Of course you did. Everybody did. So I wanted to read the so-called official description from the TV.com site, just for whatever,
for next week.
For next week's episode. Yeah.
Ooh, do I want to hear this? You know,
Here's
I don't like all these spoilers.
It's not much. It's two. Well, actually, it's one sentence with a semicolon.
Everyone dies, semicolon. The end.
Ding. All right. Mr. Echo seeks Locke's help in finding a secret location he believes holds the key to the island's mysteries. Jack and the other survivors grapple with the horrific situation in the hatch. So that's all there is. The episode is titled ? And as all the avid Lost fans know, the question mark is the thing that's sitting in the center of the map on the blast door. So it's safe to assume, I think, that the question mark location is this secret location that they're referring to in this description. And
why would Echo? What is he talking about? He's like, there's many special place powers in here, and I mean, what makes him think the island has some sort of place with power in it? Is that just a random hunch?
I assume they're going to explain that.
That would be a folly.
I mean, Locke, I know, that would be a folly, wouldn't it? I'd like to assume that they're going to explain it. I mean, Locke, if they're going to go to question mark, I assume Locke is going to tell him or he's going to find out or something.
Oh, I know exactly how it's going to go. I bet you $5 is going to go like this. Locke is busy working on his little map of the blast door that he's trying to pull from memory.
Right.
And Echo's going to come by and say, "What is this you're doing?" And he's going to be like, "Well, you see here, Echo, see this thing in the middle? I just don't know what it is or where it is. I can help you find it." And I think that's what's going to happen. And people wonder why I'm not a writer on the series.
I know. You need to send your resume.
Well, I don't have a resume, but I have a CV.
Oh, okay, a CV. Sorry. I thought CV was only an academic thing. I guess not.
Oh, I heard I saw some British person use that. I think maybe it came from over there.
Oh. Yeah,
you know, us Americans are resume. Anyway, let's end this because I'm really tired. Not to sort of ruin the veil that is this podcast, but I'm sleepy.
Yeah, well, sometimes, I guess it's kind of late, and so yeah, maybe we're a bit tired. Anyway, all right, well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more
another exciting podcast,
theory discussion, and bad jokes.
Well, two out of three ain't bad.
Hey.
What was I going to say? I was going to say that if anyone is listening or listened, send us a comment in our little page. And I guess you should know that it's thelostlowdown.blogspot.com, because if you don't know that, then how did you download this? I'm looking at you, Bob. I'm looking at you.
If you actually got this far in the podcast, let us know. I don't believe anyone's going to listen to all this.
We will send you $5 via PayPal, but it will be $5 Lost Island dollars. You can only buy cans of peanut butter with it. Dharma Initiative dollars. Dharma dollars. Why not Dharma dollars?
I was trying to think of something a little more exotic, but
Dharma drachmas.
Yeah, something like that. I couldn't come up with the word, and I fucked it up. Oh well. Anyway.
All right. Over and out.
All right. I want to, the other lostcast.com, love their podcast, whatever. They have this thing at the end of every, we're not going to do this. At the end of every podcast, they say, "Stay lost." I think I'm sorry, that's crappy. I hate it. I think we need to come up with a catchphrase that's better than that to say at the end of every podcast.
Okay, how about stay lost?
Okay, that sucks. So if you have a suggestion,
Yeah,
give it
that's
to
better.
us, and maybe we'll start using that. We'll,
What is
something
maybe
very
business?
odd. I don't like the sort of normal things. I don't know.
You know what? We should pick a phrase from the show, I'm gonna think of a line from the show that'll fit. Some Sawyer's
Yeah,
that would be nice and funny.
we'll brainstorm a bit ourselves, but feel free
Yeah.
to suggest something. So anyway, for now, I guess we'll just have to say bye.
Yeah, bye works. Okay, do the thing that makes this thing stop.